Hey guys, I bought this system about 3 years ago. It was advertised on eBay as a movie prop. I don't think the seller realized exactly what he had on his hands, because there was still a motherboard in this case. Turns out the motherboard was actually fully functional. It just needed some memory, a CPU. Oh, and there was actually a hard drive in there as well, an 850 meg IDE drive, which, to my surprise, was actually fully functional as well, no bad sectors at all. I really struck gold with this one. So I figured I'd pull this one out, and we'll do an installation of Windows 95, and try out that new internet thing that everybody's talking about. I've heard good things. But first, let's take a look inside. As you can see, I've already been playing with this computer. Now we've got a compact flash adapter in there. Now I'm going to pull that out. We really don't need that for this project. Okay, so let's disconnect that IDE cable. I am going to need that. And next up, I'm going to pull that video card. But first, I'm going to remove the wrong screw. And yeah, that card is really stuck in there. Yeah, that's going to work better. Let's see what we've got for a video card. Trident TVGA 9000. It's not the best video card. Unfortunately, I don't have a Visa local bus card that I could install. That would be a whole lot faster. And then we've got our ISA multi-IO card. And of course, a big bank of jumpers up here. Now I'm going to have to reinstall that card in a moment, but I'm going to move it up to the uppermost slot. That IDE cable is only so long, so we really need all the length that we can get. Okay, so putting that card back in the first ISA slot, or at least the first 16-bit ISA slot. And we'll move that cable over out of the way. And let's get that ISA video card back in there. And don't worry, I'm going to screw those down later on. Next up, we need an ISA network card. This is a Genius LAN GE2000. Okay, yeah, that card might go in better if I pull that screw out of there first. Now, this computer initially came from a company called Sydex, based in British Columbia. I'm always curious about the history of these things. What kind of life did this computer have before it came to me? And last but not least, we need an ISA sound card. Okay, now that card doesn't seem to want to sit properly. If you run into problems like that, where a card is just not going in, whatever you do, don't force it. Okay, so I'm just going to put that card in off camera here. There we go, that looks good. And now let's start screwing everything down. Now I've got 16 megs of memory installed, that's 72-pin RAM. Now there's also a 486DX2 66 chip installed in the system. Now the 66 megahertz, it runs pretty hot. You do need a heatsink, but you can generally get away without having a fan. Okay, those cards all look good. Just gotta find one more slot cover. As far as I'm concerned, a computer's not complete if you don't have a full complement of slot covers. Now let's see about that hard drive. We'll need to connect this IDE cable to the drive. As always, the red wire indicates pin 1. There's our hard drive up here. Let's pan the camera up a little bit so you can see. Now, when I got this case, that hard drive was actually mounted right there, hanging in there by one screw. I imagine somebody pulled that hard drive out, realized just how small it was, and kind of put it back in there. That's a Western Digital Caviar 2850, and absolutely no bad sectors on the drive. This one's really a survivor. And I'm actually going to mount it in there upside down, just so I don't have to twist the cable. Now you may have noticed I've got a CD-ROM drive in there as well. That's going to make the installation of Windows 95 a whole lot easier. Technically, this one's a bit of an anachronism. That's actually a CD burner. You probably would not have had a CD burner. Yeah, those really weren't common until the early 2000s, at least in my experience. But this drive is beige, and it's really the only one that I have that fits the aesthetics of this computer. And let's try and sort out our massive power cables here. We need a power connection on the CD-ROM, and one for that hard drive. Now there's one other thing missing here. We're going to need a cable for that floppy drive. And you can see the twist in that cable. That indicates drive A. Now, of course, we only have one floppy drive in this computer, so that really doesn't matter too much. Yeah, we really didn't pay much attention to cable management back then. It was more a matter of tuck all the cables in and put the cover on. Let's just make sure none of those connectors are going to short out. So in part 2 of this series, I'm going to install Windows 95, and we'll talk a little bit about the early days of the internet. It really was the Wild West back then. If you enjoyed this one, feel free to like and subscribe, drop a comment down below, and, as always, thanks for watching.